Hi, welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach, and this is my little internet show by Whitewater Things. Today I want to talk about sort of different throw bags, things you want to look for when you buy a throw bag, considerations based on the type of boating you're doing. There really isn't one throw bag for everybody. There's options based on whether you're kayaking, you're cat boating, you're rafting, and how you're going to use it. So I want to talk a bit about that so you can maybe make a good decision for the throw bag that you want to buy. So the first thing is length. How long of a rope should you get? And I feel like a minimum 65 feet. I think 75 feet is great. It should be ideal length. 65 feet should be sort of the minimum. I know kayakers might use less for certain reasons. They have good reasons to. Maybe they're creaking a lot or doing some shallow thing. This is, I think, a 30-foot throw bag we use for our Chetco trips because a Chetco is just not that wide and we have to hike it in. So I'll use a 30-foot throw bag for certain applications, but generally I like a good length. But the rule you should follow is the longest rope you can accurately throw. So if you get a 75-foot bag and you can only throw 50, that's not going to work. Maybe a smaller rope, maybe something that's 65 feet, you can actually throw 60 because it doesn't weigh as much. So you want to basically, don't just get 75 because that's what everybody says. Try some things out and get the longest rope you can accurately throw. Next is rope diameter. And ropes are generally 1/4 inch, 5/16 inch, or 3/8 inch, or in millimeters if you buy them in other parts of the world. I think a 1/4 inch is a good length if you're going after swimmers, right? It's light. This is a 70-foot 1/4 inch bag. I really like this bag. If you're just doing like light duty stuff, like throwing them for a swimmer, getting a rope to a boat for a quick pull, or to like get a rope over so you can pull over a static line, I think this is a great overall tool if it's a 1/4 inch. The next size up is kind of the in-between. It's a bag a little bit bigger like this. That's 5/16. It's a good overall bag for all kinds of situations. You might do some light hauling on it. You can still throw it pretty far because it's not super heavy. It's a decent length, but you wouldn't do like a major Z-rig with this. The rope would probably stretch too much. And you know, it being medium size, it's decent to grab. This 1/4 inch rope is tough to grab. So if you're on shore pulling, it's gonna be hard on your fingers. And if in the water, it's gonna be hard on your fingers. Where this is a little bit nicer to grab. So this is kind of nice. So if you can throw a 5/16 rope, that's the way to go. And then finally is the 3/8 inch rope. That's what's in this bag. 3/8 is pretty solid. It's really nice to hold on to. It's a strong rope. They're stiff. It's a good rescue rope, but most people can't throw a 3/8 inch throw bag very far. So if like throwing it to save your friend is important, this might not be the right bag. This might be it. Whereas if like hauling super hard on a boat with this 3/8 inch, you know, that's good for this. This isn't good for that. The 5/16 is kind of in between. So it really depends what you're doing. Some details about the rope that you buy, some things to think about is you want the rope to be colorful so it can be seen. You want it to float. That's just ideal. It's nice if the rope floats if it's a throw bag. And you have to decide whether you want poly or Spectra. Spectra is stronger and a little more stiff, so that's a good rope to get if you're gonna use it for some sort of hauling, like pulling super hard on a raft with mechanical advantage. You know, the only downsides to me of Spectra are that it's more expensive and it's just not as nice to work with. Like Spectra's a little stiffer, it's like on your hands it's a little bit harder, where poly ropes are generally like less stiff and just more kind to your hand. So I'd say in general most people can go with the Spectra because it's a stronger rope if they want to spend the extra money. And then finally, when you're looking at the bag, some things to consider is, does the bag follow the clean land principle? A lot of throw bags have big loops below here that can get a hand stuck. This NRS bag has 3 different things on it that your hand can get stuck into, so I wouldn't say this follows the clean land principle. You know, something like the Salamander bag does, except for this hand here. And from the factory, there's a loop it comes with, but you can just cut the loop. So just like, and this is a perfect example. There are no loops on this one. This is a WWTC throw bag, and there's nothing. So this one follows the clean land principle, where most of them here in the US have something. This Coca-Tap bag is great if you tighten this down, but this hangy thing could be a violation of the clean land principle. Just depends how safe you want to be, like how risky you want to be with loops. That's up to you. Another thing is colorful. You'll see all these bags are colorful again, and when they're thrown, you want to be able to see the rope and the bag. You also want it to be easy to stuff. Anybody who's stuffed a throw bag knows it's annoying. It's just not that much fun. So if you're stuffing a bag and it's just hard to get your hands in there, you know, you want a big wide opening so you can shove it in, plenty of room. It's important to be able to stuff it because you'll use it more. If you're like, oh, I don't want to use it except to restuff it, that's not good. At the same time, you also want to pack tight. If it's packed in here pretty tight, it's going to zing out of the bag better when you throw it. So like this bag that's kind of floppy, the rope isn't gonna zing out of here. It's gonna kind of get hung up on the bag a little bit. With a bag like this where it's packed tight in here, the rope just zings out when you throw it. So it's more throwable if it's packed tight. So there's a balance between making it stuffable, but at the same time having it packed tight, and you gotta find that balance. This Cocotat one has found the balance. This is a good one for both of those. Also, ideally it holds like a carabiner somewhere and it hides the loop. So all of these throw bags, there's a loop on the outside. This is a really cool feature of this bag, is that there's a carabiner in this padded pouch, and this is sort of hidden, so there's no chance of getting a finger stuck in there. So not many throw bags have this, but it is a kind of a nice feature. Also that it's durable, that it lasts a long time. I do like about this bag is there's no mesh. The mesh on these bags, the mesh right here, is where they typically wear out. So the bag's gonna wear out after a couple of years, typically on the mesh. Now a lot of you think, oh, I want the mesh so it can dry out. Maybe, I don't know if that's really the case. But I use my bag a lot, I want it to last, so finding something that's durable, it's gonna last a long time, I think is pretty key. And finally, consider getting a waist belt throw bag, something you wear on your waist so you always have it accessible. Now when I kayak, I don't really like wearing a waist belt, but when I raft, I like to have one. So depending on what I'm doing, I'm gonna want something to have with me all the time. So in terms of throw bags, there's just a few things you wanna think about for you if you're looking at something. And a lot of you are thinking, oh, I'm just gonna get like a 3/8 inch do-it-all throw bag. I can do some rescues with it, I can throw it, it kind of does everything. That seems like a logical thing to me. It just isn't gonna be very good at any of them. Like throwing a big 3/8 inch throw bag like this to a swimmer is really hard. If your friend's swimming down the river, you're less likely to hit him with this bag. So you're giving up some throwability. And at the same time, this 75 feet of rope isn't quite enough to do a real rescue with. Like a Z-rig, you can maybe do it if the raft is close to shore. You really need a static line. So I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna suggest for a lot of you, especially those of you rafting, is get yourself a good 200-foot static line. Like something that is your rescue line, right? And then a bag that's super throwable like this. So you throw this bag over to the raft, they tie this thing on, pull the real static line over, and pull with it, right? That's the best combination. Like get a throw bag that you like, you enjoy, you can throw, is super throwable, and you're accurate with the real static line. Now, if you don't want to carry a static line, then yeah, then something like this that's just sort of like your rescue line slash throw bag is adequate, is just not that great. Or again, having something in between, having a nice 5/16 line that you can do some pulling with, but you can also throw, is something you might want to think about too. So it kind of depends what you're doing. When I'm catboating, I really like something like this, because this is plenty to pull on a catboat. I really rarely have to do any mechanical advantage for catboats. So having like a 5/16 line is great for catboating. When I'm kayaking, I like this. I rarely have to do anything massive with kayaking. It's more about swimmers when I'm kayaking. So this is a great line to have for kayaking. Same thing for stand-up paddleboarding. I like this for stand-up paddleboarding. If I'm rafting, like I'm taking a paddle boat, I might get a paddle boat in some serious raft situation. So I'll either do the combination of something throwable with a static line, or just take this bad boy and just do my best to rescue my friends if they swim. Or I might just take this depending on how, like if it's a small R2 boat, this might do the trick, but if it's a big boat, it may not. And then if I'm doing gear boats where I can have a serious gear boat wrap, I'm definitely gonna bring the static line and maybe a couple of these throw bags too. But I'm really a fan of a couple of these. I just wanna point out this Cocotat 70-foot throw bag is pretty sweet. I'll probably do a review on this later. It's small, it's easy to throw, it's well thought out. For just zinging your friends or hanging up your clothes in camp, I'm a big fan of this. This WWTC throw bag, it's good rope for hauling. It's really great rope. It's well thought out. It stuffs well. It throws well. Comes in different lengths and sizes. I love this pouch that I can put a carabiner in, because most of my throws are to a boat that's stuck. Like they're stuck on shore, like on a rock somewhere, and they need a carabiner to attach it to. It's nice it's there. So these are my favorite two throw bags right now. Again, use this for kayaking. I'll generally use this for rafting. And occasionally I'll use these different ones for different applications. If I know I'm gonna do a lot of rope work, I'm gonna do some rescues, I'm gonna do some lining rafts, I love the rope in this bag. So this is my favorite rope, because it has the same static line that's right here, this Sterling Ultraline. So as a rope, I love this rope. I just don't like it as a throw bag, because again, I have a hard time throwing this one. So a lot of thoughts here. Hopefully that helped you out in choosing a throw bag. If you have questions, put them in the comments below. I could have missed something completely. I'm sometimes a complete moron, so if you want to add something I missed or tell me I'm wrong, let me know about that. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Please think about liking and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.